Of a sore subject. It's not a thread that I'm going to pick up, but let's have a look at the game. There's going to be absolutely oodles for us to pick over in this one. Rogue versus VP, Virtus.pro. We are heading into Oregon. We're going to see Virtus.pro starters out on the defense. I think that suits them down to the ground, to be honest with you. I think it really puts the onus on Rogue to start off by doing something here.
I think that's the big thing about Rogue here, and I guess historically when we've seen them is sometimes they struggle when they're off on the back foot. If things aren't really going their flavour and their way, as we saw in the very opening round, of the very opening playday against Kavana, as they lost out on a big clutch on their defense, then their morale just felt a little bit lackluster for the rest of the day. It's tough. It's so hard to try and pull yourself back into a game when things start to slip away from you. VP here on a map that they love, as was pointed out before, on a map that obviously they've got technically the most recent win. You know, it's Rogue. They've got some momentum for some points for the first time in a while last week, but they've got to really try and hit this one running.
It is, like you say, you know, it's a short season and you've really got to think about that longevity. Now, Virtus.pro coming in with their final ban. Thatcher's already gone by the wayside. Valkyrie's been popular so far for them, but they're going to take Kaid out of things here. I just thought they might have a little bit of concern about those. There's some very damaging outdoor cams that you can find when you're sort of punting those black eyes out of doorways here on Oregon, but they will stay in the pool. Kaid not being available is going to free up the Hatchers somewhat, particularly for that basement defence. I mean, Hatcher's not really playing a huge role elsewhere, Em.
Yeah, I think that's it, is you're looking at the limitations of this and you're looking at, okay, where's it most going to cause some problems? It's always the basement with Electric Hatch and obviously with the hatch inside the opening lobby. Okay, there are some places you can put clever claws on the top floor. Hold, you can play things in certain locations, but it generally boils down to a little bit of a looser play. Thatcher's off the board, which is going to make it tricky getting in, but we've seen capabilities across Twitch from both these teams before, so I don't really see it being the biggest impact. I suppose it's down to how they think that they're going to play this, and if they're expecting some aggression. A Rooney there on the entrance swing of the kitchen corridor gives me the impression we're seeing a bit of a stretch upstairs here.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think Rogue coming in here, they need to maybe just try and be aggressive onto this bottom floor. Obviously, there's a number of different takes that they can choose to push forward on now. This setup is actually pretty interesting from Virtus.pro. The first thing that I want to cover off, I know that obviously we've got those fantastic esports drops available and it's bringing in all sorts of new eyes that are coming in. Maybe you're seeing this for the first time and you're thinking, Ace, what are these guys going to do? What's the push? Where are they going to go when they're attacking the downstairs side? And generally speaking, they can do as they are, which is push in, try and get control over rear stage. They'll try and get control of the sort of bunker as you come in through construction, work around the pillars area and take control of site from there. And that's what Virtus.pro have actually set up against by trying to hold on to meeting, because normally you would try to take control of the meeting hatch as part of that to force Virtus.pro deeper back in towards Laundry and Freezer. But Kozheka gets the opener, and I'm pretty sure that came from that exact hatch. Rogue need to pay attention to meeting, and that's exactly what they do as Aces steps in and gets the kill, trading out slightly late, but Kozheka goes down nonetheless. It's a bloodbath here as we find ourselves 3 versus 3 inside the first minute, Em.
Yeah, they really stepped in. They saw an opportunity, tried to take it, didn't really take into consideration that the one person that seemed awake was above the hatch. There's one more put to bed. Dropped as they swing round to try and get the pinch on the last man on the freezer door, but it's Aces that suffers. Pasha puts it back in a 2 versus 2, but there's Iana to put it on a 2 versus 1. First in the door and able to try and put one more on the floor. Now, Leon looking for the plant. They have an idea of where Rask is, and he's creeping up. They're aware that one's in the freezer, but they look too high. She's down low. Iana puts the first round on the board for Rogue, and I said they had to hit it running. Would you describe that as running?
I'd describe that as a sprinter. I'd describe that as just running straight through the glass door and not bothering to open it. Rogue just firing themselves into this matchup with Virtus.pro here on Oregon. And honestly, that is the best thing that could have happened for this game inside of round 1. Let me tell you that. Rogue coming in, there'll be some nerves on that side. They've had performances. They've managed to get themselves an overtime win in Playday 2, but they know there's work to be done, improvements to be made, and I'm sure they've been working around the clock to try and do that. And so so coming in onto what can be a difficult site to attack in the Laundry. Virtus.pro wedging themselves in there, but Rogue, they've just gone in. They've got the little crowbar out, and they've just absolutely peeled them out of there without too much of a problem. And Virtus.pro, they're going to try and go down here again. I'm just interested to see whether it's the meeting hold again or whether they focus themselves more downstairs completely this time.
I think that was it, is for all the holes that we've seen on this site, sure, there are a lot of teams that love to extend to other positions. You'll see sometimes they'll throw themselves to the top of the tower, open a couple of rotations along attic and just keep themselves alive in a problem. But this is a heavy dedication of utility and bodies. They're keeping Electric Hatch soft and open so they can put people down through it. And it gives you this idea and this impression of, okay, sure, it was red once. What was the difference? Because by the time that they were in T1, by the time that the Rogue shoes were on the boots of your site, there was still shotgun setup going around all over the map.
I think the problem for me was, I mean, this is nothing new in terms of defending basement of Oregon. It's a little bit new in terms of new Oregon, but when we used to see it on the old Oregon map, holding on to meeting to defend basement was, you know, quite common really. But the problem that I think the VP have got here, they're trying to hold on to meeting in order to do that. But look at what they're doing. Exactly the same again, Em. They are letting Rogue down those back stairs where previously you would hold on to the entire top half of the map and you wouldn't give up this rear stage access. But Rogue once again are clear to just walk in there. Look how deep Leon is. He's right inside the bunker. He's on their own rotation. And if Virtus.pro don't get a hold of this, it is going to bite them, and it's going to bite them hard.
Pasha pressured from the back here, catches one on the slip onto Laundry, doesn't get to the second as Pasha swings around and is able to put something back in, but they still know they're being watched from Pillar. Look at the two bodies of Karjaka that's just above the hatch. There's one more pushing down the kitchen corridor, so it's Leon who has to try and take some initiative. Put some pressure into the site and make sure that they still have a handle on the man count. Rask was the other one, going for a big rotate around the opposite side. Karjaka takes a death drop and hits the floor in the worst possible way, as now it's a 4 versus 1 Rask. Yet again, the last one on the board for the hands of Virtus.pro. A great swing onto the first pick, stops the diffuser planter, but it's already planted, and so are you. Rogue, 2 in a row in the pace of a lot of teams won.
Time for Rogue to move away from basement. I think that much is clear. As I say, holding on to meeting, give it a go. Let's see how it works out. Coming into the second round, doing it again. It was the same problems. They didn't patch up any of the holes that were there in round one. Look at Leon. He moves into bunker. I commented on it at the time, and he just sits on the rotate. All that Leon is waiting to do there, remember, he's not an entry fragger for Rogue anymore. He's got the diffuser in hand. He's playing support. So at that point, you've effectively got Leon sat, and this is not a criticism before I say it. He's sat twiddling his thumbs.
You're talking about Lord Leon here. I mean,
I don't want to go in on
You've
Lord
got the
Leon.
title, you know.
He's done a great job, and this is what I'm trying to highlight, and the reason that you can't allow this to happen. You've got a player like Leon Gibbs who's effectively twiddling his thumbs a little bit. He's waiting for the opportunity to get the diffuser down. And when Leon is able to have that sort of time, he's going to make mischief. And that's exactly what he did. As the kills started raining down, we had one trade in either direction. Who steps up next and starts to put the pressure on Virtus.pro? Leon comes in, bang, gets himself a kill, and then starts to move into position. And that's what he's going to do if you give him time to spare. He's going to have a look around on site. He's going to see what he can find. And with his gun skill, he is almost certainly going to find heads to click.
Now, in terms of Rogue, and it was obviously talked about a little bit earlier on in the desk, Leon is situating himself more into this IGL role. So he's trying to dictate the plays, he's setting himself up in a bit of pace, and that was a bit of a learning curve, as we've kind of seen over the first couple of play days, and I've definitely seen a growth, but this, compared to how Rogue have been playing before, it's so quick on the trades, it's so succinct at the best possible times, obviously without the unfortunate ability to not be able to deep dive onto those replays to see the drone placement and really get a taste of the metrics and the methods that they're setting themselves up here. It's just pulling on the sweater thread, but so far it seems very well tied together.
Rogue then moving in quickly, once again getting themselves inside of the map. They're attacking this time onto the Dome site. Rask just tried to hold on to Big Tower there. He's going to dip away as he seems to feel that the push is coming from elsewhere. And he would be correct. There's a man moving in through Dining. The drones, they're raining information in. And Rask needs to be very careful because Crine, he had a good week last week and he's looking to add to that tally, coming in and looking to get aggressive and clear out that roam. I think Virtus.pro right now need to get themselves an opening kill and they need to sit behind it and they need to start piling the pressure on. They can't allow themselves to keep losing men in the early round. It's gone 50-50 so far. Kajeka opening kill round 1, Aces opening kill round 2. So I think Virtus.pro, they just need a round or two with a man advantage behind them, maybe 5 versus 3, where they can just start to slow things down and just steady the ship.
Going to burn that ADS they popped out. They want to put pressure onto Kajeka on the swing, force him away so they can put some swing up onto the white stairs. Aces is the one that's swinging onto the corner. I've said that word too much, so let's see who ends up swung for the bleachers now. They're able to get to the top and find WTG on the cross. There he goes in deep, finds Maestro too, a double, and he's already inside on the opposite side of the Aruni, but yet again, the diffuser is going down. No! Stop from the other side. It is a 3 versus 1. Leon going for his third plant, and the story doesn't quite make it. A 2 versus nobody. Rogue, 3 rounds in a row, and they are finding that flaw in the site every time. And Virtus.pro are struggling to stop the flood of blue inside.
I just need to ask the question, and where was this Rogue in play day 1 and 2?
Yes.
This is, they are coming in absolutely hot here. Now, I think Virtus.pro are just calling a tactical timeout, and that is no surprise at all. They need to whack the brakes on at this point because this train is just getting away from them. It is not stopping at the next station, Em. This one is careening right on through, and there is absolutely no slowing the Rogue guys down at the minute. One area that Virtus.pro need to start focusing on particularly, I'm looking at the last 2 play days, their win percentage when they take the opening death and are defending, it's down at 29%, Em. So only 1 in 3 rounds are they going to pick up a win where they have the opening death. And so far, Aces, he's doing well on the entry. He's got 2 out of 3, round 2, round 3. He's coming in and giving Rogue that advantage. So Virtus.pro, one way or another, they need to dig in and they need to start finding those opening kills. Otherwise, the numbers are just working against them.
I guess there's a lot of, we have to look towards Rogue. We have to look towards the confidence that they have. There's a big handful of things that have happened in their kind of span over the past 3 weeks. Obviously, a roster change is one. They've obviously brought on a new psychological coach behind the scenes as well to try and help them get into a better headspace. They also found their first point in a game last week for a very long league time. And if this is post-point Rogue, and if this is the pace and the confidence that they play at, I think it'll look to some teams that like to have these wider holds and like to have these slightly more kind of active and aggressive rotations and kind of go, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't offer them this much land and this many eyes into our site, because that is what is being punished so explicitly right now in the hands of Virtus.pro. There are these Aruni holes, there's these gates. They're gone very quickly. They'll get a drone in, and then the response is a finger snap. It's step for step. Rogue are playing as once upon a time we thought they might.
Round 4 heading into Domes. Similar setup to last time. Rask is out there on the roam, but it was ineffectual last time he was chased down. He did start over in Big Tower, whereas this time he is adapting to what Rogue showed us last time. He's down there in the showers corridor, and he's looking to just make a mess early doors. He's got the shower on hand to clean it up if needs be. He wants to spray some blood around and get himself an early kill, but look at that. Bullets finding him already. It's as if the Rogue bullets right now are magnetized towards those Virtus.pro players, and they are chasing them down. The information game is strong for Rogue. They know where Virtus.pro are setting up, and Aces once again, 3rd round in a row, comes in, slays Rask and gets that opening kill. A bad start for Virtus.pro here. It puts them down to about a 25% chance to win this round. They've got to overcome the odds.
Pasha drops down and finds a rotate around the back of Frieza with Kajeka offering some pretty needed support from above to be able to take care of the Ashe that is, as you said, entry 3 times in a row. But the success story is they are able to get that first blow. Corey putting the pressure on the double window, the same as they did before, making sure they have an idea on where everybody is, and they're steadily piecing it together. There's obviously the one loose aspect of Pasha that they've kind of left to the Aether for now. They're aware of where he is and where he decided to go, but they've realized, well, we don't need to go there just yet. Let's wait. Let's put some pressure with the man advantage onto the side and just keep an ear out. Karjeka, though, is keeping more than that. Swings round and goes Burr on the top of white stairs. Rips finds Pasha, though, on the rotate round, and there's another body, but a trade and one more. Corey finds it and locks it off with Cryin on the floor. It's a 2 versus 1. The diffuser is cold, which is a change to the usual MO, but they've been able to get Cryin back up, and they have over a minute left.
Milon absolutely sweating there as Corey swings in, finds the headshot. There was nothing that Milon could do. He was between a rock and a hard place there, just stood in the centre of sight with Rogue players just surrounding him, biding their time. They were practically playing with their food at that point. 4-0 now. Rogue are coming out strong, and they are looking like they have done some work in the last week. They are reading into Virtus.pro perfectly, and they've got the defence to come in. Coming in here, I said that Virtus.pro might actually benefit from the defence. Absolutely not the case. They are being washed over by Rogue right now. But Rogue, they could take this 5-1, dare I say 6-0, and then coming in onto the defence of Oregon, they've got to feel confident of finding 1 or 2 rounds there.
Honestly, I think that their confidence was up to atop your speech on peaks and troughs at the beginning of the day. Very inspirational, and they haven't even begun to peak. I think at this point, Rogue, they're on the up and up. We've obviously just had that timeout. It does work both ways. Everybody's allowed the chance to speak to their coach, get their heads in, and for Virtus.pro, well, they had a pretty intense, I'm assuming, crisis talk, and unfortunately it didn't lead to any success as of yet, but there were some little hints in the play there. Karjeka leaning back in against Rogue. We saw them trying to be a little bit more confrontational on the flat approach there and trying to dig in. It wasn't successful, but I think that that is a better recipe for success than their previous, which was a very wide, let's let them start the pressure on us.
So this time, roam game, I think, at this point for Virtus.pro is very important. They've been having such little success with it. Rogue have either circumvented it completely, as we saw in round 1 and 2. They just didn't worry about meeting whatsoever. They didn't worry about the roamers. They just rushed straight into rear stage stairs, got themselves downstairs and involved. Now, it looks like Pasha is just responding to that. He's playing in at rear stage, and that's what they need. Once again, look at the drones coming in on him. We've got Z-Pings coming out. He is under pressure. He's in a pressure cooker right now. The lid is locked on tight, and he gets forced back down into Freezer now. Does he rotate up Freezer stairs and go for a long flank? That's something to watch out for as this round develops. But once again, Rogue are adapting well. Previous 2 attacks onto this site have been get into rear stage, push down, Leon move through bunker, and just aggress quickly. But they've recognised that Virtus.pro have set up differently. They've recognised that that is not possible, and they are adapting now. Look at this, Aces. He's going for another one. He wants that entry once again. Nade drain out. Ras takes damage. In comes another. Can he find a kill? No, shut down as part of a double Aces and Corey. This is all going towards Rogue right now.
They're able to get one more. WTG took a bold swing and he's doubled himself down inside blue. He wants to keep control of elbow to stop Leon swinging in 2 where he's got an aggro before, but now it's a 4 versus 2. There it is. Very aggressive play, but you're in a 3 versus 1. You've downed 1 and there's a minute 30 left. Hits 1 through the soft wall that you left soft and keeps himself moving, keeps the game alive. The guess of where has WTG got to? Either way, he only has 2 canisters left in pocket, and now he will assume, and probably be correct in that Leon is back to his feet. Rogue, they're holding the angles. They're not throwing themselves into this just yet. As you said, they've been reading this game perfectly so far, and well, let's keep that going for now, they decide. WTG, he's found yet another position, yet another place to dig in, and yet another kill for this trouble. It's going to be harder to reposition and reevaluate here, and well, Corey punishes him for it. A good attempt, but against this Rogue, good does not cut the mustard.
Rogue are just understanding the ebb and flow of these rounds so well, Em. It's, as you say, aggression at the right times, put the brakes on at the right time. They just slow it down, pick up the pace. Virtus.pro don't know whether they are coming or going right now. Rogue just able to strike at the right time, but also understanding that, hey, we're 3 versus 1. We've got a minute on the clock. Let's just take our time. Let's get the drones out. Let's find the information. Let's lock this down. Corey up there on 8-1, Em. Absolutely flying right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see him at the top of the board because of the role that he's playing as well, where he's obviously, you know, bringing the Gon 6, dropping Maestro cams, the frag grenades. We've seen get a couple of kills and a couple of bits of pressure so far. They're able to force the players of Virtus.pro into more uncomfortable situations. And I think it's the thing as well is when we're seeing it so consistently from them, we are always having him up towards the end of a round and able to keep applying this pressure. We're always having Leon as well, able to get in aces consistently. That first body looking and thirsting for the entry. On the side of Virtus.pro, it's kind of hard to pinpoint who's going to be the first confrontation, and it's harder to work out who's going to show up. The 3 kills that WTG just got are their only contribution on the kills board so far. If there was one other person that could have showed up a little bit, that might have been something that swung more to the favor of Virtus.pro. It's maybes, it's possibilities. That's a really lovely shot, and he followed it up with great movement. It's just not clicking at the right time the way it is for Rogue right now.
Round number 6 then, time for Virtus.pro to do something, anything at this point. They just need to get themselves around on the board. 6-0 in the first half will be absolutely catastrophic for them on Oregon. I cannot overstate that. It will guarantee overtime for Rogue as an absolute minimum. Any of you coming back to EUL, of course, the format has changed slightly since last year. We are still best of 1, but we've done away with those draws. We now have 3 rounds of overtime. The winner taking 2 points, the loser coming away with 1 point overall. But Rogue right now, they don't feel like they're going to be anywhere near that point, let me tell you. Rask, he's getting pressured inside the showers here. Shut down once again, I've got to call it. He misses a few shots onto Corey, whilst Corey does not. He finds his man, finds his target, shuts him down, leaves him in the dirt. Crying does get traded out alongst the way, and they're not aware of Pasha, who sneaks around the corner and gets himself a second onto Corey. 4 versus 3 now. Virtus.pro have to build on this.
For the first time in a long time, Virtus.pro have been able to take Rogue by surprise. Pasha played the way he needed to, put some aggression back into them, take them away of the game that has been so reliant on them, and there it is, another falls, rips, suffers aces, starts to get bit on the side too, and has to pull away now. It's very quickly slipping out of the hefty information game that was in the hands of Rogue. 1 body slipped through, and so did 3 of their own, so the cost is a very high one to pay, but that is not stemming Leon, who is looking to try and lord his way down. Milan and Pasha are aware of the possibility of the confrontation at the top of the stairs, and there it is, a swing and a pre-fire, puts a quad on the board for Pasha. Can he find the ace? He can! And that is the response you need before the turn of the half.
That is exactly what Virtus.pro were looking for there. Just keeping that energy high now. They've got to roll into this attacking half with that confidence, with that sort of buzz about them that a Pasha ace will deliver. But they can't allow it to be a blip. They can't allow it to just be the drop in the ocean. And they've got to back it up now. They've got to just send that full tidal wave into Rogue now. They've got to take round after round. But the one negative for them, the real kicker for Rogue here coming into the defence, is they have been much better on the defence so far in play day 1 and 2 than they have on the attack. The attack is where they've struggled, if anything, and they've just come away 5-1 on their attacking half. 62% win rate up to today on the defensive phase for Rogue, so you would expect them to take 4 out of 6 rounds here. They only need 2. Virtus.pro, they've got a lot of work to do. There's a mountain to climb here.
Well, VP, you've had a little bit of a scratch of Rogue, and yeah, sure, it's a pretty big uphill, but they just managed to take 5 of their attacks, and we know what you can be capable of when you have some much-needed confidence. Rogue, they're going to lock down. They're not going to play with the same loose and aggressive play that we just saw from VP. They have their angles, their swings. They have a pretty standard extension into elbow and around the back of blue at this point. They know what they want to play. play, and that is desperately for the win.
Round 7 then, Crying setting up around that rear stage. Obviously just very cautious about the hole that Rogue were able themselves to take advantage of, which was that just immediate quick push down the rear stage stairs, take control of Pillar and build from there. They are not going to allow Virtus.pro that kind of space. Rogue, I'd like them to just keep the pressure on here. They need to get up in the faces of Virtus.pro. Don't give them too much time, because following on from an ace, you've got a player like Pasha now coming in 9 and 5. His confidence is building, and if that passes through and that energy is high within the team, it could just allow them to find that room they need to get a round or two on the board. So Rogue need to get up in their faces, hold a high line, and don't allow them any access, just like Leon's doing here, right up on that freezer door. He's not playing down at the bottom of stairs, he's barricaded it off, and he's just hoping that the drones don't come in there. But there is a Z ping on the rear stage. Can they find this opener onto Milan? That might just be exactly what they need.
Well, it's a dance around this back staircase. Virtus.pro, they've gone for a much more spread out hold on the stairs side. We saw a big drone game all the way across Attic. They are taking their time and stepping cautiously. They do not want to suffer the same mistakes that could very much punish them and put them yet again on the loss of that entry side. Ras going for the big rotate now. Pasha's going to double down to back it up, and they have Electric open, which is going to make Ace's position much tougher to hold, especially if they start trying to collapse against the walls that are keeping him safe. Just on the swing there is the Gemini. They know that he was there before. More drones, more pressure, and 1:20, the longest we've had every single player still up on the board. Finally, they're able to force those two bodies out of Pillar, but there's still one locked in blue and still a lot left to do.
Still looking good for Rogue. They've got a high line. They're still in possession of the map up to those rear stage stairs, basically. There's nobody managed to get into Pillars yet. We've got the man in bunker still established, able to challenge. And right now, Pasha put in a little bit of pressure onto Pillars, but they need to force that Rogue line back, because it is going to crash down onto them if they are not careful. Looking to use those breach holes to get a view into sight. There comes the first kill from Aces onto Milan. Damage done to Pasha. It was exchanged in both directions, but Corey looking to get aggressive onto the corner in bunker there with the shotgun, and we see a man go down. It's WTG. He's going to be licking his wounds, brought back up onto 20. Pasha cleared out by Aces. He's having a phenomenal day so far today alongside Corey, and right now this is all going in Rogue's direction. 20 seconds left to go. This could be putting them onto match point. Aces, he says, Pasha, you can get an ace. I'm going to come in with a 3k. Can I find more? Yes, I can. That's 4. Can he go with a back-to-back reverse ace against Pasha? 6 seconds left to go. Aces has got to be the man to try and find it. He wants to get aggressive, but no. Leon steps in with the headshot, and the round is far more important than the ace. Rogue find themselves on match point, and what a performance we're seeing out of them so far.
You saw a little bit of a few come out of the mouth of Aces there, and fair play. Everything ended up being battered against the bastion he was trying to hold, and my word, did he hold it well. Virtus.pro, they played it late and played it safe, but caution unfortunately was thrown to the wind in the final minute, and they just couldn't lock down the control of the players, and it's a team that we know can be so good on their day. The problem for Virtus.pro is today is seemingly not their day. Map point, Rogue have guaranteed themselves at least a point from this, but there's got to be a lot from Virtus.pro to see if they can try and get into OT.
Given how close they are in the league standings as well, this could be a very important result when we think about the end of the stage and where people are sat. Rogue and Virtus.pro, given their performances so far, are two teams that could well find themselves close together come the end of it. And so having that direct head-to-head result over your opponent, it just denies them those points. It claims them for yourself. It can be absolutely massive when it shakes down. Now we've got a bit of a replay of Rogue, and Ace has just coming in. That was his 3rd kill, and then he flips around and he's just looking for 4th. Look how hungry he is, just looking for more after more after more, finding the heads repeatedly, and there he goes with another one straight onto the man coming past Pillars. An unbelievable play from Ace's last game out. Look at him and Corey particularly. 19 kills and only 8 deaths between them. They really are propelling Rogue through this fixture.
6-1, Virtus.pro, let's see what you adapt. There's already someone trying to make a fuss here on the main door. Aces, yet again, no surprise that he's the show of force, trying to give you the greeting he believes you deserve, but you are not accepting it, understandably. Being shot in the face isn't good in anyone's books. So, you get some revenge. Pasha from deep gets the man as he tries to swing to the top of the armory the top of the armory stairs, even the highway window, and now they're still concerned about T3. Held down with a sleepy body, waiting for the possibility of causing some drama and trauma slightly later on in the round, but the first blow has fallen for Virtus.pro for the first time in a while, so what can they do with it?
As you say, just falling behind for the first time in a while. Aces 4 opening kills so far today, but shut down there. But it all seems to be the problem I've got at the minute, is Virtus.pro, everything seems to be going through Pasha. 10 and 6 on the board. Looking through the rest of the team, 3-3-2-2 in terms of kills. There is no other way to call it than to say that their input has not been significant enough if they want to come out and get a result here in the top tier of Siege. The EUL is a punishing league, and you can go up against teams that look like the form hasn't been fantastic, but they will still come out and hurt you. And Virtus.pro right now need the rest of that team stepping up, functioning together and finding those kills, because Pasha cannot do this all alone. And right now, Rogue, they've got themselves locked inside of dorms there. There is a little bit of pressure mounting from that master bedroom side. Pasha looking to rotate potentially, I think, just over to that double wall there, the double window, just to see if he can apply a bit more pressure into sight, whilst Rask looks to open up the dorms room just a little bit further, looking to get himself full access into game there and able to get in there and get a plant down.
Milon is hot on the trail of Leon, but is he aware that a rotation might come via kitchen? They've got themselves underneath, and it's whoever sees whoever first, I think, or potentially hears them. That drone is going to make things a little bit tricky for Leon. Might not know how close to the punch they are, but Virtus.pro are using this. They find Leon underneath. They're able to get that swing and puts them in a 5 versus 3, but with 30 seconds, why not one more? 5 versus 4 versus 2. Now as the dance gets intense. They've been able to get to the bottom of white stairs. Rips is holding the close hop in on the double window, but there's Milon making work underneath, and now with the diffuser going down in the hands of Rask, Rips is very isolated. All the angles, he falls to the Ash who tore through 3. Virtus.pro, take a breath, but you're far from done.
A long, long way for Virtus.pro to go. Yeah, you know, as they say that a journey starts with a single step, they've managed to take 2 now, and they've got a second round on the board. But with Rogue only 1 round away from taking this one, with the way they've been playing, you just know at this point in time, you feel it deep down that it's only going to take Corey or Aces to have another one of those big rounds to come through and to overcome this Virtus.pro team. Look at that last round. It all started with Pasha killing Aces, and that is what they're going to have to keep doing consistently, because the man has been absolutely dominating them. So any round where he is able to get that opening kill, you've got to look at it and say, surely that is Rogue's moment to strike and to get in, take this one over the line and take the full 3 points away from the Russian team.
Instead of obviously trying themselves in the meeting, they're going to go for the much more familiar kitchen side. And I'm curious to see how the Warden comes into all of this. I guess we have seen some of the smoke play and played before. They used it for rotations down across the face of blue. They put some pressure there onto the opening. But otherwise, you know, it's come down to a lot of quick firefights. And, I mean, you look at a Warden on the board, you're like, okay. And then you look at a Warden in the hands of Aces and you're like, okay, now I want to see.
I'm sure that he will put that MPX to good use.
Yeah.
Put it that way. We know that it's not. I mean, I scream at the MPX constantly. I don't know about you.
In a good way or a bad way?
Bad way. In ranked, it is obviously the MPX's fault when I'm playing Valkyrie that I don't get that run out that's actually about 3 miles away. It's because the MPX is the problem, obviously.
100%. But then you see it in the hands of Latin American players and you're like, how do they make it sing like this?
Yeah.
What version do they have?
Maybe it's me.
Yeah. But Aces, he's holding aggressively on Shower Corridor. He's keeping himself alive. And I think this is one of the things that we've seen from them quite a lot is just, I need to be where the fight is.
And that's what he has done consistently throughout, is where is the fight, how can I get there, and how can I impact on it? And so far he has impacted on many now. Crying, he's going to be droned out on those small tower stairs, but he's got himself an ADS, playing as Wamai. He's no doubt got magnets in there as well to try and help, just protect him from any potential nades. We've got Kozheka on the window with the Iana, so you would imagine part of the plan might just be, let's start getting the throwables in there to clear Crying out. But Milon, he's just come off the rooftop there. I don't know if he'd already taken some damage or he took some shots, I think, just from Corey there, and then he's dropped off the roof just to keep himself safe so that he can be picked up. Now, that's a wonderful shot from Rask, absolutely singing bullets across and taking the head off the top of Corey. Milon gets revived up to 20 HP, so that could have been a disaster, but it's been averted. Virtus.pro, nice thinking.
Well, now they can try and apply the pressure onto the top yet again. A body is the first to fall for Rogue, and it didn't lead to a successful story for them last time. But look at this. They're still trying to find a way to offer some external support to the two bodies that are a little bit isolated in the small tower. Milon is holding the close angle here in case Leon takes a further step. We've had a lot of ADSs being burnt. No frag grenades left on the board, but we do have a couple of smoke canisters. Fortunately, there's a ward in there too. Another Gemini goes through. They have the beat on the read, and they're making sure that the person who drops it is Cryan. They're not giving the close game away as to where one is, but Cryan gets dropped too. There's a swing round. There's a dance on a doorway. There's a window too. Leon is under all the pressure of the world right now and is trying to make sure something hits someone. Aces wants to offer some support here, wants to offer something extra, might not know how close people are, but look at this. Virtus.pro have said, well, let's go to the site, let's put pressure down here. We don't need to risk losing lives to Leon. One body to watch that rotation, hop out over, and otherwise just try and put the work on that singular body. And with only 30 seconds left, they've really got to make sure it works, and WTG gets worked over by the Lord, who's going to try and descend down the staircase for one more. Why not? Why not a third? There it is. Rask stems the flow and puts it into a 2 versus 2. The diffuser is cold, and they only have 10 seconds to make it land, but Leon is on a quad. If someone from Rogue wants an ace, it isn't the Lord. This time a triple is what brings it back now. The last swing on, but look at Aces go. He's not having any of it.
Aces gives it some legs and gets himself out of there. Leon put under so much pressure that he turns himself into a diamond. He just came out absolutely swinging on those small office stairs. He just showed that he was the lord of the land, and he put Oregon into the books for Rogue.
They took a risk leaving the Lord in his chamber, but his stairs were meant to be descended down to find his crown, and it's one on the head of Rogue. Okay, they had a win last week.